What's up, FHN? I'm Nathan.
And I'm Vanessa, and welcome back to this week's episode of The Nightly Show.
The recent school board's decision on the removal of Black literature and history has sparked a debate in the community on if these classes should still be in place or if the curriculum should be rewritten. Let's turn it over to Camden to see both sides of this ongoing debate.
It was always the erasure of Black voices from our education. We cannot allow that to happen. We cannot allow student voices to be silenced. We cannot allow the value of our education to be diminished.
Following a controversial bill created by the Francis Howell School Board to remove Black history and Black literature from student curriculums, many people have gathered to First United Methodist Church to voice their outcries regarding the topic.
I was one of the two board members that voted against it, so I was very disappointed in the outcome. They will tell you that the reason it was taken away, it had nothing to do with the Black literature course or the Black history class itself. It was the lens that it was being taught through. They thought that it was being taught through a social justice lens and not a history lens. It's important where people know where they come from, what it took for them to get here. I think the same question to be asked, why is it so important that we talk about the Revolutionary War? And why is it so important that as white Americans that we talk about World War I and World War II? I think it's the same thing. It's because it's the history part of it. You learn from the past. You learn from mistakes people have made from the past. You've learned how to see the future from the past.
I spoke with Randy Cook, a conservative school board member, to see the other side of the argument and the reasoning behind his decision.
History that teaches, to use an overused term, the good and the bad, is very worthwhile. But I think teaching it with the intent to create kind of a dialectic or a dialectic between two groups of people, I don't think is helpful. I think that ultimately, even if it doesn't do it within high school, it plants the seeds of strife and identity group conflict. And I just don't think that's productive to overall civil society in general. I think it's important to learn the history. I think it's important to know what happened, why it happened. And if students choose to take action on their own, that's certainly their prerogative.
For kids who choose to continue their education, right, missing out on these courses will put them at a distinct advantage when they move to the next level, okay? When they go to colleges and they start learning world histories and other nuanced history courses, there's going to be a lot of information in these classes that they're going to miss. By taking out these courses, you deny certain students an opportunity to see a reflection of themselves in the curriculum that they're learning from, okay? And I can speak for myself in this aspect that was very problematic for me as a child coming up through public school system.
The two sides of the argument have yet to reach a decision on the matter, and so the discussion will remain until resolved. Reporting for FHN, I'm Camden Blair.
Thanks, Camden. Most students watch YouTube, but have you ever wondered what it's like to actually run your own YouTube channel? Watch this video by Wilson Lamb and Riley Aldenderfer to learn more about the trials and tribulations of being a full-time food reviewer on YouTube.
Santel is a YouTuber with 1 million subscribers. Today we take a look at his channel and how he manages a large fan base.
For every YouTuber, you'll need some sort of platform to get your channel started.
So actually, while I was in London, England, Munchies, they contacted me and they wanted to do a video on me. And that posted in March 2015, I think. And then ever since then, we've gotten a pretty steady flow of subscribers. That video has gotten over 1 million views.
With the newfound fame from Vice, he's had the opportunity to travel the world for his videos.
I enjoy traveling, and then I enjoy, with what I do, I've been to over 40 countries in all 50 states. So it is really cool to meet all of the subscribers in person at all of the Food Challenge events. It is pretty much, the Food Challenge is already existing at the restaurant. So that has all the details that the restaurant has of the challenge that they offer. So making sure that I've got a good introduction, and then the actual eating is the story of the challenge.
Even with his newfound fame, he also gets a lot of negativity in the comments.
So I've been getting negativity and stuff from the start. So I know why I'm doing it. I know what I'm working towards, and I know it's all for good reasons. I know that they don't know me. So they're commenting off of watching one video without knowing my whole backstory or anything like that.
In the future, Randy does plan to change his channel in a more healthy way.
And I'm going to be eventually transitioning over to helping all those people with their weight management, nutrition, and stuff like that. So I'm still going to be a professional leader, just a different kind. Helping people with nutrition, general nutrition knowledge, weight management, and stuff like that.
Transitioning to sports, last week we had a very successful Cross Out the C week. Thank you to everyone who showed up to support our girls and boys basketball teams. Our basketball teams also have games today against Orchard Farm at Orchard Farm High School. So make sure you show up and support your fellow Knights.
And as you all may know, we have our very own team sports class here at FHN that you can sign up for this next school year, and it counts as half a credit towards your PE requirements. So if you're interested, here's a video by Kate Vernon for more information on the class.
Once students enter high school, they have been taking the same gym classes for 9 years. You learn the same sports every year, and every year it gets more and more repetitive. So how do teachers fix this? One way is to have a class like team sports.
I wanted to take a gym class that was less like things where we were learning units and more so just getting into the sports. And I felt like my gym class from when I was a freshman, just regular physical education, was like more so I had to learn a lot about these things instead of just getting into the game.
It's my senior year, and I took a lot of hard classes leading up to this year, so I wanted to take some easier classes. I knew team sports would be fun, and I needed a PE credit.
A lot of the games we play take a lot of teamwork, and so it's easy to meet new people that I wouldn't have otherwise.
It's definitely a whole lot different because instead of being in a typical classroom setting, it's in a gymnasium and we're doing sports instead of like in most classes you like just learn about something, whereas in gym class we actually do it.
Also in sports news, defending Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs will be playing the San Francisco 49ers for this year's Super Bowl on February 11th. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes hopes to silence the hate with his third Super Bowl win to cement his name in sports history as an all-time great. A Chiefs win here would move them up into dynasty status, having won 3 Super Bowls in the past 5 years. But for their opponents, this one's personal. The 49ers come into the big game wanting revenge against the Chiefs, who defeated them 4 years ago in Super Bowl 54. Quarterback Brock Purdy is eager to prove himself after being taken last in the 2022 draft. This is the rematch of the century.
Seniors, don't miss the date. If you plan to continue your athletic career after graduation, don't forget that tomorrow, February 7th, is College Signing Day. And in science news, scientists are studying the behavior of parrots to learn more about human-like intelligence as you age. Similarities between humans and parrots, like long lives, monogamy, and vocal learning, are believed to be related to intelligence. To learn more about unique birds, let's listen to a snippet of Disjointed dialogue by Camden Blair over his top 10 birds.
Hello FHN, and welcome to the Disjointed Dialogue, where I pick a random topic and speak on it at length. This episode is on birds. Its call sound sounds just like a machine gun, which is also very, very horrifying. They eat baby crocodiles, which honestly, not that terrifying. If you're 5 feet tall, you better, you know? The full episode can be viewed on FHNtoday.com. I'm Camden Blair, and this was the Disjointed Dialogue.
To watch the full episode, make sure to check it out on FHNtoday.com.
Snowcoming was just this Saturday. Not only was the dance super fun, but the pep assembly and spirit days seemed to really bring the energy out of the students. In case you missed it, here's a Snowco recap from Wilson Lamb and Nigel Bailey.
I am a co-advisor with Ms. Pugh for Student Council. Therefore, we plan homecoming, snowcoming, and some other activities like school-wide. The planning process works by, we split the students into different committees, and so we say like you're on decorations committee, so they're in charge of coming up with all the decorations for the dance, or you're on tickets and food, so they're in charge of pricing out food, and there's different committees like hallways, pep assembly. There's several different committees, and we tell them you're in charge of this committee and you have this budget, so they know that they have a lot of free reign within that as long as they stay within budget, and then we kind of check over their plans and we say, yes, this is great, or why don't we adjust this a little bit.
So we started back in, I want to say, early December, planning for snow coming. So it kind of takes a lot of time to get all the pieces together, like the DJ, ordering decorations, and kind of just figuring out what we want to do. So that starts in December, and then we just kind of go from there.
The difference between the two dances is homecoming's always held like in the fall, and that's just to get a lot of like alumni to come back. And while we still have the dance, like homecoming in general is just kind of bringing the community back. Snowcoming, it's more of our winter dance, and we do like to tie it into the community more. This year we're trying to tie it in a lot more than years past. We're trying to have it tied to like the basketball game and bring more events like this week. The two are pretty similar, but they do vary a little bit. For example, they're in different locations. So homecoming's held in the big gym, whereas snowcoming's held like in the commons. We have like a glow theme typically for snowcoming. It's just our winter dance as opposed to our fall dance.
Thanks, Nigel and Wilson. Now I can't wait for prom. It really can't come soon enough.
I know, and a reminder to all the juniors and seniors that the prom fashion show is February 28th, so make sure you sign up to be a part of the show and get your tickets ASAP before they are sold out. In this week's Pop Culture Moments, UMG pulls music from the social media app TikTok, with some of their top artists being Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, and Coldplay. They pulled away due to artist compensation, and with UMG and TikTok not being able to come to a full agreement. This went into effect on Wednesday, January 31st.
In other pop culture news, Fortnite has become the #1 most played game on PC with over 400 million active players. Fortnite is not the only game that is currently trending. A new game called WarioWare Move came out 2 months ago and has been a hit recently. Here, Reagan Mollering reviews it and tells us about the must-dos in the game.
WarioWare Move has surely made a name for itself as one of the goofier games Nintendo released in 2023. Just as the older WarioWare games, WarioWare Move is a collection of micro games, extremely short games, that you must complete in a very short amount of time. This game, while a lot like the previous games in many ways, distincts itself majorly by being one of the few games on the Nintendo Switch to use motion controls as its only control option. Discussing the story mode, gameplay, and controls will give us a deeper view into this new, wacky, fast-paced movement game. The story of this game really isn't much to look at, but you can't really expect that much from a game about beating micro games as fast as you can. Essentially, while buying an abnormal amount of garlic burgers, Wario wins an all-expenses-paid trip to a tropical island that happens to have enough tickets to bring all of his friends along. The rest of the story is adventures Wario and his friends go on while on the island. There's also a fun story of an ancient deity on the island that gives an explanation for the use of the Joy-Cons, which they call form stones. The story to each level doesn't matter all that much to play. The story mode is really just a way to play by yourself or with one other person to try and get high scores. Though, seeing the fun characters that we've come to love go on adventures is worth it to some. The actual gameplay of the story mode involves going through different levels of microgames that involve motion controls. In some levels, you'll learn different forms that you have to do before starting the microgame. These forms put you in the proper position for the minigame. Then you move the Joy-Cons to complete the microgame before the time runs out. You keep going until you finish the level, after which you can keep going until you lose all your lives. Some of the controls you learn later in the game are interesting, such as pressing buttons along with moving the Joy-Cons or even dropping one of the Joy-Cons to use the other one to see your hand on the screen. The wacky, off-the-cuff humor of each game really hits in each level. The strange characters and design choices are made funnier by how quick each microgame is. However, after a while you get used to each microgame, and it can become repetitive, which is where multiplayer comes in to save the day. The story mode can be played with up to 2 players, but the multiplayer mode supports up to 4 players at a time. The game instantly becomes more fun when you bring your friends into the mix. Working together or competing against each other in the different multiplayer options gives the game its replayability. Despite its struggles with the motion control limits and repetitive microgames, this game is a fun way to get you and your friends moving while you enjoy the silly characters and unique humor, and I give it an 8 form stones out of 10.
That's all we have for you guys this week.
Make sure to go and check out our socials at FHNtoday and at FHN Game Day to get more student coverage and the latest news. Once again, I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Nathan.
Signing off.